We are back, everyone. Hello, and hello, Scott.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hi.
Today, we're getting emotional.
We're getting very emotional. Very.
Well, we are going to immerse ourselves in the topic of emotion in presentations.
We
I hope
are.
we don't cry and stuff like that.
I don't plan to cry.
Yeah, good. Me neither. How do we kick this off? Where do we start?
Oh, let's kick this off. I want our listeners to think about when you are presenting, how do you want your audience to feel?
Yeah.
How do you want them to feel during the presentation, as they walk away from the presentation? Because the way we express our feelings and emotions is going to play a huge role in how our audience feels. And what's fun about this, Scott, I know this from working in the corporate environment, the F word, feelings, is not, it's not.
I love that.
A hugely promoted word in the workplace.
No, I know. I worked with a client once. I was told during a break, I was leading a workshop for a consultancy, and I was told during a break that I had brought up emotion and I'd lost all credibility.
Because you said the word emotion?
There was a whole section where we focused on sort of mapping the emotion of our content.
Wow.
And somebody found that almost, well, we don't do emotion here, we do data.
We are not human.
Yeah,
we have no feelings. Okay.
You know what?
That's interesting.
Well, but it's true. I mean, it is a bad word in some places. People are hired because they make sound decisions, not emotional decisions. They base it on data. It's, their analytical power that makes them so good at what they do. That's what we think. But when it comes to talking to others, when it comes to communication and speaking, how people feel, how you make them feel is incredibly important.
It's critical. It really is. It's going to determine whether a presentation is a success or not.
Yeah.
It makes a huge difference.
And there's this important, I wish I could cite the study. People are probably going to get mad at me because I'm not
that's
properly
an emotion.
Citing my sources. I'm being too emotional. But there was something pointed out to me earlier that when it comes to the memory of a presentation, when people look back at what moment do you remember from a presentation, it will map to the moment that they felt the strongest emotion.
Absolutely. And there could be a story tied. Was that also a time when a story was being shared during the presentation? Because our stories can evoke emotion.
Yeah, they make us feel stuff. Yeah. That's really the beauty and the power of it all.
So, Scott, I want to make sure we're crystal clear on what we are talking about here.
Yeah.
We are talking about what is the impact when we present with zero emotion.
Yeah.
Our facial expressions show zero emotion. We don't use words that evoke emotion.
Yeah.
Or we'll say a word that is an emotional word, for example, excited, interesting, amazing, and our facial expression doesn't match the word.
Right. Yeah.
So this is a risk when this happens.
Right. Well, we have clients that come to us that struggle with, they say, I want to come across as more passionate, or I'm aware of myself as being very analytical. And I'm told that doesn't work that well, that it's boring. And honestly speaking, it's true.
It is.
Well, when somebody lacks expression, emotional expressiveness, there's something I think in our brains that does not register. It doesn't connect us to what they're saying. When somebody, on the other hand, is very dynamic and expressive. We sometimes use the word passionate to describe it. Our brain wants to listen. We get,
yes,
it's almost
turns
like
on.
we can't, it's almost like we can't ignore it.
It's important to remember that we can be analytical and be expressive at the same time. It's not just one or the other. Okay, let me throw out a question. If you know that expressing emotion or using emotional words is something that you struggle with, what can you do to turn that around?
I like to work with people in this idea that we have this coordination system to speaking, like a swing in tennis. And if you think that way, you can say, oh, okay, well, I can always learn to have a more powerful swing. In speaking, you can always learn to have a more expressive kind of delivery. I've taken that expressive level and divided it into a scale of 10 and said 0 is, on the scale is like a robot. There is no emotion whatsoever. And a 10 is like a crazy clown on crack cocaine. Right? I brought this up in a past episode.
On crack.
But that's a
awesome.
10.
Awesome.
Nope. Isn't that great?
Yes, I love it. It's a great visual.
Nobody wants you to be that 10, trust me. But nobody wants you to be a 0. And most people will reside in that 3 and 4 range, which is fairly flat. Some people will be a 2. And those are the people that are like incredibly flat when they speak. And if you line up 10 people, somebody who delivers like a robot, then somebody at a 1, somebody at a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, all the way up to a 10, and ask listeners to say, which one do you want to listen to? Who's the person you like the most? They'll often say a 6, 5, 6, or 7.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I approach it with people. I said, look you're at a 2 right now. All we're going to do is take your speaking swing and try to get your expressive level into that 6 range. That is a nice way to approach it because it removes the expressive quality from your identity. It's not I'm boring or I'm unemotional or I'm analytical. I'm like, well, you can be all those things, but you're not those things. Your speaking habit, though, is a bit flat. So let's just change that and bring out a part of you that you're not accustomed to seeing.
Scott, you know what I'm going to say next. When we are the presenter, it's not about us. We need to give our audience what they need. And they want a human being that has feelings and can show emotion, positive, constructive, whatever it is. So yes, do we have to get out of our comfort zone at times and smile more often than we're comfortable smiling or using words to draw out energy? Yes. Yeah. And that's what makes a presenter great.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. It's, if you combine this idea that it's all in the spirit of being in service to your listener.
Always.
And then take this idea that it's still you. It may feel unnatural. It really, when you're trying to be expressive at this 6 level I described, and you're normally at a 2, you are going to feel like a crazy clown. You will.
But and your audience is going to love it.
Yes. It's just because it's not your habit. It's not that it's not you. Mm-hmm. The real problem is when we have that lack of alignment, that lack of congruence, say with our face and the emotion that we're trying to express, or
it's
a voice.
Very confusing.
It is confusing.
Very confusing to an audience.
Yeah.
Do you have I can give an example.
Do it.
Not everyone may know what we're talking about. I will watch leaders give presentations and they'll come out in front of their team and say, "Great job, team. We had an excellent month in sales." What? Yeah. I don't believe you.
Okay, now say it so that it is believable.
We had a great month, team. We had an excellent month in sales. So it's matching. It's matching our facial expression, our eyes, our mouths to the message.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. How do we wrap this one up for everybody? This was good.
Oh, to me, this is all about a mindset. It's the mindset of we need to introduce new habits when we are speaking, and to consider the habit, do I show emotion?
Yeah.
What is my audience walking away with?
Yeah.
Are they bored? Are they motivated? That comes from us.
Yeah. And I would remind everybody that emotion is speaking. I mean, you can't extract emotion from talking. Every sentence has some level of expression. And we need to tune into that, even if we're giving a scientific presentation with lots of data. It is to think of it as appropriate to remove the emotion, or that emotion isn't necessary, is completely wrong.
Perfect segue into our topic for next week, Scott.
And what is that?
How do we present when we believe the content is boring?
Yeah.
Presenting boring content.
Yeah.
However,
a boring topic.
We're going to flip it. We're going to flip it on its head, because I don't believe the topic is boring. I don't believe the topic is ever boring.
Yep.
It's a boring presenter.
I'm excited to hear you rant with me in the next episode. Good work. That was cool.
Great job. Thanks everyone for listening.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
Hey, Scott, how can we plug our podcast?
Oh, thank you for reminding me. I always forget. Go to Apple Podcasts and rate us, leave a review, a comment. All of that helps us spread the word and get this out to more people. And thank you for listening.
Thanks, everyone.
All right.
Have a great week.